Howdy folks, my name is Johniki.
And this is Madame Bathsheba.
And together we are Catamancy Tarot. So hello, welcome. Today I wanted to start a new tarot tag. I've been really enjoying some of the tags recently and I thought I would start my own. This one is going to be called If You Could Read Tarot for Anyone. And the rules are pretty simple. It's kind of like, fantasy football league, except for, I guess, tarot readers. It's your, like, fantasy, like, hypothetical, like, if you could read tarot for anyone, living or dead. First of all, who would it be? And second of all, which decks would you use? And why? I think it's a fun prompt. So I've got 10 different categories. We'll start off with like, folks close to home, so like friend, partner, family, pet, and then we'll expand out from there. We've got artist, musician, actor, performer, author, fictional character, and then historical figures, and then a little bit of a bonus. So the rules are pretty simple, like who would it be and why and which decks would you use. So if that sounds like so much fun, then I hope you'll join in if you'd like or just enjoy the video. And I can't wait to see what you guys picks because I had a lot of fun with this one. So if that sounds all good, then let's get into it. Let's see um, if you could read tarot for anyone, who would it be?
Alrighty. So I don't know about you guys, but whenever I start to do a reading for somebody, I all like step one is always to like figure out the vibe and decide like what would be the perfect deck to bring for that person, that occasion, that setting. That's one of the things that I think is really fun is just like we gotta, because some folks are just really not into some things and really into others, and which is why I think it would be hard for me to be like a full-time professional reader, because I would need like my to take my like full deck collection to go to work. I feel like I'm kind of like Ollivanders, except for decks, where you just have to like select the perfect is it this one? Yes, I think this is your deck. Like I don't, and I've gifted a lot of decks to friends, and that's been another thing where it's like, oh yeah, this is the right deck for the right person, and like gifting someone their first deck that like fits perfectly is another thing that I find super satisfying. So that's kind of like the impetus behind this tag, is to kind of like think through and like do some fun hypotheticals in terms of like, if you could read for anyone, who would it be and what deck would you use? So I've got 10 categories, and the first one is a friend or a partner. So we're gonna start off. I'm gonna do a friend, and I'm gonna do my best friend Catherine from back home in Denver. Shout out to Catherine. I don't think she watches, but that's all right. Um, and when I went home over winter break, this is the deck that I brought to read with her. This is the Black Lily Tarot by Aya Rosen. And so Catherine and I were friends since like middle school. We both got really obsessed with like Finnish music in like middle school and high school, which culminated in us both being like exchange students in high school to Finland for a year, which was super fun. And we've just been like super bonded ever since. We went to the Denver School of the Arts and did like stagecraft together. So she's always been like a very artsy kind of person, and I'm actually hoping to move back to Denver soon, as soon as this summer. Um, and she's, one of the like advantages of that would be I get to move, back and hang out more, because I miss her. So I chose this deck because it's um, I don't know. I associate our friendship with like a lot of shared like teenage angst. Like if you have that one friend who's like seen you at your teen worst, so I just see this as like a really like precious and like kind of angsty deck. I don't know, there's something that's very kind of evocative in the line work and very expressive. Um, and so I brought this deck to read with her over winter break, and she loved it. She liked it a lot. The first deck that I gifted her was the Spirit Speak Tarot by Mary Evans, which is a black and white deck, but it has kind of like a similar kind of line work thing. And yeah, she liked that one a lot too. It's a little bit more on the doodle side, but this one I think is just a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more grown up. Um, so that is my first deck, and I've actually, for some of these will be very hypothetical, but this one we're starting off with like a real thing that happened in the world, I guess. So next up is if you could read for any family member. And so I made this tag, but I have a really quite small family. So like, it's pretty much just me and my mom at this point in time. And, shout out to my mom. I'm pretty sure she does watch my channel. So hi, mom. So the decks I chose for her are both Amy Zerner decks. My mom's favorite color is purple. So I had to get out my most recent like purple deck, which is Amy Zerner's Vision Board Oracle. Um, and I won the vision board contest with Amy Zerner, and she actually did a full like vision board portrait of me and Madame Bathsheba, and it arrived. Like I have it in my house. It's wild. It's pretty cool though. It's very cool. So I'll insert some maybe some B-roll footage so you guys can see, but it's me and my favorite flowers and my favorite cat and some elements that I said I was into, and she pulled some cards for me. One of them was opportunity, and like the very next day I got like an email out of the blue about this like new opportunity that I'm hoping will come to fruition. If it does, I'll definitely tell you guys more about it because it is tarot related. Um, but we'll see if it works out. But like, Amy Zerner's magic is already magicking. Anyways, so this is a fun little deck. It's like a very positive like affirmation style deck, and that's definitely my mom's vibe. Very very positive. We've got very affirmation kind of driven. This cat's face just cracks me up. So for her, I would probably bring out this deck because it's purple, and then I would pair it with Amy Zerner's tarot deck. I also made her one of these pouches to go with this deck, and she sent me a video, and she's keeping her enchanted tarot um, in one of my pouches, which is crazy to me. That's like very, I was fangirling pretty hard about that. So if you need any more, I don't know, tarot, like, I feel like people in the tarot world know who she is. To me, it feels like, a little bit tarot celebrity. So that's my tarot celebrity endorsement for my little Etsy business. So if it's good enough for Amy Zerner, that's all I could ever ask for. Um, and this is just a very, we're doing pinks, we're doing purples, we're doing blues, we're doing peacocks. It's all very sweet. Um, we've got some joy. We've got some queens and princesses. I actually I went shopping with my mom many years ago by now to try and find her the perfect deck, and we went to this like metaphysical shop in like Inglewood in Colorado, and um, shopped, and it seems like she couldn't quite find anything, but like I don't know. I feel like this is the one. What do you think, Mom? Anyways, so those are my choices for prompt number 2. Um, and then we're moving on to prompt number 3, which is if you could read for any pets. And again, reminder that this is kind of living or dead. So if you have like a pet that has moved on that you want to get back in touch with, or a family member that's moved on that you would get back in touch with, or those are all well within the realms of this prompt. But as you know, there's only one pet that fills my heart, and that is the lovely Madame Bathsheba. And she's right here. I can ask her stuff. So, and I also, okay, so I've gotta tell you guys, I'm gonna be a little bit tender and vulnerable and share something with you guys. I've been having, so Madame Bathsheba is, she's in her wise old age. She's around 15. I've had her for about 10, 11 years now, and in, I think, 2 years ago, she was diagnosed with feline kidney disease, which like rocked my world and broke my heart. But she's doing really well. I just took her to the vet again, and after we made the lifestyle changes and dietary changes, like her levels actually went down a little bit, and they haven't been getting like more and more elevated. So she's doing all right. But since her diagnosis, I've had just like an enormous amount of just anticipatory grief. And like if I talk about it too much, I'm gonna start crying because like, oh man, you guys. But I just wanted to share that with you all. And so I've been doing. This might come across as like either morbid or very sweet or um, take your pick. But one of the things I decided to do was to get um, Kitty her own deck and not use it until after she isn't around anymore. And like the only deck that I could see her voice coming from is Tarot of the Cat People, which you all know about this one. I managed to find like a vintage copy from the 80s in good condition. I don't know why the vintage decks just feel a little bit more magical to me. I love the cardstock on the older decks, and like I like the graphic design on the box a little bit better. And I love that this feels like a very like Ursula K. Le Guin kind of sci-fi cat people world. It's very utopian. It's it's so strange, and I love it a lot. So, one of Kitty's favorite spots is this little ottoman cushion by the window, and you can zip it open. And so I think I'm gonna like hide this deck um, in the ottoman so it just absorbs a lot of her energy. Or you can rub the deck on the cat, or I don't know, whatever. But I haven't used this deck yet. I haven't. I've like opened it up, put the cards in order, made sure everybody's there, taken a look at it. But I'm not going to use this deck hopefully many, many, many years, maybe 10, 15, 20 years, I'm gonna have the first immortal cat, you guys. So, yeah, I just wanted to, I don't know why, but like, I get emotional about it. She's just a very, very special cat, a very special lady. Um, this moon cat is good. And like, I don't have a lot of cat decks. This is my first and only cat deck, and I'm Catamancy Tarot. What is wrong? What? I don't know. I was just like, gosh, I need to remedy this. But I'm not one for like, I don't love the cutesy cutesy kind of decks, and most of the cat decks are. Which is I think what a lot of people want. It's just not quite what I want. So there's this deck, and then there's a French cat oracle called like the Initiatory Oracle of Cats, except in French, which I don't know, so I'm not going to be able to recall. Um, that's that I think I might also get. And there's like an old school majors only cat deck that I might pick up, but and there's a Russian collage cat deck that's very silly, but I don't know. Although the other cat decks don't seem to be for me, and this one, Love Sci-Fi, I can see that like my cat is sent to me from this far off cat galaxy. I don't know, for to groom me to be a alien anthropologist. Like, yeah, that seems right. It's what's going on here. So that is Tarot of the Cat People. So sorry for, I don't know. I know that can be like a really tender issue for a lot of folks. So thanks for letting me just, I don't know, be an emo cancer about it. Um, all right. The next one is if you could read tarot for any musician, living or dead, who would it be and why? And um, for me, there's really only one answer. And if you'll recall when I was telling you about my best friend Catherine and how we got really into Finnish music, one of the bands, and I'm a millennial, so I was around, I started listening to music around the like, I don't know, the early 2000s. Um, and so one of the bands that we got really into was the band Him from Finland, and the front man, his name is Ville Valo, and he was just like our number one, like, I don't know, preteen crush, teenage crush, adult crush, just like crushing pretty hard. For a while, he lived in a tower, like an old school like tower in Finland, and we saw them live a couple times, but never actually met. But like, I think you would enjoy a tarot reading, and I think the decks that I would use are the Ritual Tarot by Tierra May, and I would also use the Tantric Dakini Oracle, and I've got my trimmed version here. Oh, look at those poppies. Love the poppies. But yeah, I think it would be so much fun. And there's something about the artwork of the Ritual Tarot is like very kind of I would say like it can be it's a little bit edgy, and it's very sumptuous. um it's got, I don't know, it's got some very like atmospheric kind of vibes. So I can see this deck being in a hymn music video from like the love metal era, like pretty easily. Like that just like makes sense to me in my brain. I think it would be so much fun. This is a question, the next couple ones, I think I'm really excited to hear what other people have to say about who they would read for and why. Yeah, I don't know, like, how do you think, like, how do you think David Bowie would feel if someone used a David Bowie tarot deck to do a reading for him? Like, what? That'd be kind of weird, would it? I don't know. Maybe he'd be into it. I don't know. But yeah, this is one that I'm like really curious what you guys would think. So that was my musician. So the next prompt is any actor or performer. So I added performer just because I don't know, some people are into other kinds of things, and but maybe there's an actor, celebrity, dealer's choice. Um, but one of my favorite I'm gonna choose a drag artist, a drag performer, and I'm a huge like Trixie and Katya fan. And recently on like Trixie's YouTube channel, she's been sharing that little frog affirmation cards in her recent videos, which makes me really want to get it, even though I'm not really a little frog affirmation deck kind of gal. But it looks cute. But I think it would be, I don't know, of the pair, I think it'd be really fun to do a reading for Katya. I know she's got some like Terre de Marseille tattoos, right? And her whole shtick is that she's a, you know, uh, Zamla. I never remember her like last name. I have to sing the little Drag Race song to like remember the pronunciation. But she, her whole shtick was, Cold War Russia kind of thing. So I picked out a Russian deck and then like an old school French deck because I think she's into like weird historical like. I think it would be. It's definitely a vibe, and I think she'd be into it. I don't know. So here we have. I mean, I feel like this is. I just like flipped to the gayest card in the deck, and I didn't do that on purpose. But that's fun. And this is the Oracle Baleen. It's been around since like the 1800s, which is cool. Let's see. Uh, I think this is a fun little combo. This is a little bit more kind of like Russian folk art. Um, it's not. It's like you could have gone like the more contemporary route with like way more like glitter, uh, you know, involved. But like I think that there's something about this, like the face this little skull is making, uh, you know, reminds me. Like I think that's something that she would get a kick out of. And I think you of of all the I don't know, she'd be just a really fascinating person to like have a conversation with. Um, I've watched her like on a lot of like podcasts and things, and she's just like generally like a very engaging human who's had like a really fascinating life experience, and um, it would be so much fun. I don't know. Um, so that's what I've got going on uh, for these guys. Like I don't know, doesn't she have like weird taxidermy things that like I don't know, you guys. We're just doing hypotheticals. We're just being fun and a little bit silly here. So that's my choice for actor or performer. So the next category is if you could read for any author. Um, and so the author I chose was Susanna Clarke, who has written my favorite novel, which is called Piranesi, which I've like talked about before because I'm a nerd about it. But she's also written like Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, and so in a lot of her books, there's some like overt or just like either like implicit or just like explicit references like to tarot and divination. Um, and so I think she'd be like, she's into it, you know? And I chose these two decks because together they really remind me of the world of Piranesi. So the setting for this novel is this like giant, like kind of ancient Grecian, like a giant house. It's more of like a labyrinth of like halls and marble statues with the sea that just like sweeps through it, and the tides come in and out of this like crumbling beautiful structure. It's really enchanting. It's like very magical. And so these decks together, um, oops, we're not centered. These decks together, I think kind of give me that give reminds me of the great halls. Um and there's like a reference in there to some of the like um like getting little divinatory messages from the statues sometimes, or like looking like this one might have a snake, which might mean this or that, or you know Piranesi picks up all of these shells and like weaves them into his hair. It's really quite lovely. I'm really into this world. So I think she, like, if I ever did a tarot reading for her, these are the decks that I think I would bring. Like, because this just seems correct. Um, I will say though, just on my own, I've been having a hard time. I know people love this deck. This is the, did I even say this is the Odyssean Tarot? And I think for me, it's just like a little bit too big. Uh, like I wish the cards were smaller. um, and I've really, really thought a lot about cutting these borders off. And I'm wondering if anyone has done that. Have you done that? Have you seen anyone do that? What do they look like? Should I do it? Cause like I just like anytime I reach for this deck, I'm just like, ah, it's so big. Jump scare. I don't know why. But I do, and like the guidebook is like so intense. It's like I'm in an era right now where like if I'm gonna read something, I'll read about this much, and that's good. So having like a 3-page entry for every single card is just like it's a lot. I don't know. That's my thoughts. But I think as a Piranesi vibe, these go really, really well together. So that is my choice for author. The next prompt is if you could read for any fictional character. So I'm really excited to hear who you guys choose for this one. I I could have gone so many different routes. Like mostly I'm like a fantasy sci-fi kind of girly. And there's so many good characters to choose from. But actually, the one that I think would be really fun, I've been watching like reruns of the old Agatha Christie Hercule Poirot with David Suchet. And like I remember those from my childhood growing up, and there's a few of them where like Poirot gets mixed up with occultists, or like he makes reference to the cards of Marseille. And I think it would be so fun to be like, 1930s get up at a English estate. There's a murder afoot. well, that part wouldn't be fun, but like Poirot is there, so you know everything's gonna be okay. Um, and to do a reading with him to help catch the criminal, to catch the culprits. And so I had to choose a Marseille deck. Um, and I've gone ahead and went with the my newest Marseille deck, which is the Carajat by Pablo Robledo, and the quality is just like so beautiful. And I didn't expect it has this like kind of slight, not quite rose petal finish, but like soft touch, which is really lovely. This was one of my like unicorn Marseille decks for quite some time. The line work is so beautiful and the colors are really vivid. Um, and I think it's really, really quite I say, quite a stunner. Sorry, that was my Captain Hastings. Like anytime he sees like a really fast car or a woman, like any woman. um, I'm also following this like Poirot meme page, and it's been bringing me a lot of joy. um, yeah, it's, you know, you can kind of, it's a perfect show to like craft through because you kind of don't really have to pay attention until like the last 5 minutes when like the whole thing will be explained to you and you'll be like, oh yeah, we got him, old chap, we did it. Um, I've also started calling my cat Mademoiselle. Uh, you know, just some Poirot things. um, very very fun stuff. So this is the deck that I would, but like he would outsmart me. Like it would be you know, it wouldn't be the same thing as like playing a game of chess with a famous detective. It would be more of a like nudge nudge wink wink kind of experience, I think. I don't know. I think it would be really fun. So that is my choice for um, uh, fictional character. The next choice is any artist. And uh, I I very nearly chose someone like, I don't know, there's so many amazing like female occultists and artists from the 20th century. Like I was thinking of Leonora Carrington, I was thinking of Ethel Calhoun. Both wonder like would be, but I would be so intimidated. It would be really hard. So instead, I went for a contemporary artist, uh, and TV personality. Um, do you guys? And this is important. Do you guys watch the Great Pottery Throwdown? Um, one of my like I like it way more than I like Bake Off, and Bake Off is really fun. So it's like it's Bake Off rules, Bake Off vibes, except with pottery, and the host is this like absolute like English bulldog of a man named Keith Brymer Jones, and he looks just like very old school, like English working class, like has worked in pottery kilns since the age of 6, kind of guy with this like new romantic kind of flat top hairstyle and always wearing so much tweed. And so you expect him to be this kind of like surly, I don't know, he's gonna smash your pots because they weren't perfect. But in which he does do. However, he's the softiest softy of any softy I've ever like he looks at a pot. He just looks at a pot and like breaks down into like a fountain of tears. He is just so moved by like the smallest details, and it just like I love it so much. So I actually picked 2 decks for him. The first one, I had to pull out Tarot Droga, which is a Polish deck that is made from pottery. So I think you know he would want to know. He would want to know about it. So I feel like I would have to at least like bring this. I would bring two decks and let him choose which one he's into, but like this is definitely one of the ones. And this is one where if you can kind of like connect, you can connect the pathways through the majors, which is really cool. Sometimes they do those challenges with the tile work. Ugh, so cool. Pottery is one of those things that I want to, I'm like saving that as a hobby for myself. That's like a hobby I want to grow old with. Like I can imagine myself getting really into pottery in my 60s and like I don't know. I think it would, so it's one of those things that like give it 20 years and you'll be okay at it. um, it's so cool. I admire it so much. So there's this deck. And then I found out I love renovation shows. I like competition reality shows. And I love renovation shows. And he's done both. So if you love the Pottery Throwdown, then on YouTube, um, he and his partner, which like, can we talk about couple goals? Oh my goodness. He and his partner bought a wealth chapel that was like dilapidated, like it was condemned. It was like mushrooms growing out of the walls kind of thing. They spent their whole life savings into buying this wealth chapel and like turning it into like a home artist studio, like pottery studio slash like community event space. And they only have like 4 episodes out. I think there's more coming out soon, hopefully, but they're all on YouTube. It's called Our Welsh Chapel Dream, and in it they see like a metal pole, uh and they decide to like pay for the sandblaster guy to like blast it down to the original, and then they look at it and they're like, you can see the craftsmanship, and then they just cry every tiny thing they see. They just have such appreciation for just like human craft, which is beautiful. And they're also kind of like weird, like very much weirdos. For their dream kitchen, their kitchen island, they bought, and my jaw was on the floor. They bought like a Victorian era mortuary table. This like huge, beautiful like porcelain, uh, like slab, and like some of the builders were like, how big is it? And it's a mortuary table, so they were like, how big do you think it is? It's about the size of a human body, and I mean, it's weird. So I also brought out the antiquarian tarot because like this is my like total Victoriana vibe, and he always comes up with these like really interesting like Victorian era like pottery challenges also. Um, and so I thought this might also be the, I don't know, uh, English working class craftsmanship. I don't know. This is the deck, or like uh, preparing food on a Victorian mortuary table because like the quality of the porcelain is so good, and also there's just some like humor in here, like that hairdo. Good lord, I don't know. That's what I was kind of thinking, but yeah, you gotta watch the Pottery Throwdown. Um, Let me know what you think because I love it a lot. Um, so that is, and I think he'd just be like really fun to read for. Like I want to do a reading for him about like uh should you invest in this or that, or like how should you make this, the Welsh Chapel Dream stuff is just like it's so cool. All right, uh second to last prompt is any historical figure, living or dead. And this one, boy, howdy, are there a lot of folks who have ever existed to choose from. I understand that, oof, lots of them out there. So many good choices. But I decided to go with um, the founder of American anthropology. I'm an anthropologist. I'm getting my PhD here at University of Michigan, and so I gotta honor my like intellectual ancestors here. And so I think it would be super fun to read for a fellow named Franz Boas, who, if you've ever taken like an intro to anthro class in college, you might know as the founder of American anthropology. Um, and he was just like an interesting and like weird dude and like brilliant and compassionate. And he was also the pioneer of, for a long time, anthropology was very much a colonial discipline that, like, um, you know, enforce certain very wrong ideas about race on the world. And he was one of the folks who kind of like really pushed back against that and like put like new notions about like race forward and like kind of, he did a lot of really like anti-racist work at the kind of turn of the century. Coming up with the idea of like cultural relativism and like concepts like that. And I think he would be a fascinating person to kind of like sit, at a dinner table and then, would you like a reading, sir? In the drawing room, perhaps. And this is my copy of the Kazanlar Tarot. And I think he would. So Emil Kazanlar was a Persian-Hungarian um, uh, painter trained in this like miniature style of painting. And this is he called it like an ecumenical deck, so it's very multicultural. And we've got Egypt, and we've got stuff from Persian myth. We've got stuff from like Hindu myth, from a Hungarian, um, and it's all kind of doing a big mashup. Um, and I think he would really enjoy this deck. I have no idea what his aesthetic um, preferences are. I know that he did a lot of work with Native North American peoples, um, but I think this one would be a hit. Um, and I sometimes I wonder what folks like him would have to say about where we're at now. I don't know. So I feel like I this might be a choice that like most people probably have no idea who this dude is unless you're into anthropology. But that's all right. I gotta like give a nod to um, intellectual ancestors, right? All right. So um, my very last prompt is a little bit of a wild card here. So this is a bonus mention. So I'm kind of leaving it up to you. Maybe those first 9 prompts were like more than sufficient, and you're like, no, that's everyone I would ever want to like hypothetically read tarot for. But maybe there's some other category. And so for my bonus mention, I think it would be kind of wild slash very engaging, or maybe some kind of like new moral calling to just like, okay, so you know how those Silicon Valley bros are kind of fucking up our world real bad right now? Many different ways. I'm thinking about a couple in particular. Um, but I know that like out in Silicon Valley, they're into some weird stuff, and they've always been into this like weird like spiritual stuff going on, or this or that. And I think it would be kind of wild to like become a tarot reader to like Silicon Valley execs and try and like morally like puppeteer just like guide some of them into like creating more ethical worlds for the rest of us. um Remember, this is a hypothetical fantasy kind of scenario, you know. But I chose I chose this deck, which just came out, was re-released. It's the Hexen 2.0, and it's all about the birth of like modern cybernetics, or just like computing, or thinking through some of the like, I don't know. It's got, I feel like the Silicon Valley bros would be really into this kind of thing. And then to make it a little bit more legible, I've just got my standard Rider-Waite-Smith. There's another deck. There's like a cyborg deck called the Bibliotech Tarot that's on my wish list that I think I would also pair with this one, and probably will at a later point in time, once it's in my budget. But I think, you know, how cool, I don't know, it would be, you know, if you could guide them to be like, all right, so it is, yeah, you are an important, very important man, so important man. Do you know how you can stay important to America forever? What if you built high speed, high speed interstate railways? You could make them you could have the fastest trains in the world. And we'd name it after you, and you'd be important forever. Glory be. Uh, or, you know, convince them that it's time for them to all just like, what if we put all of you in cryostasis, and then you can be reborn in 200 years when we can make you immortal? Or, you know, whatever you need to tell them so they just all go freeze themselves. Um, maybe this is a little conniving and dark, but like, uh, what are we gonna do here? We gotta live in this. What we gotta. Anyways. Oh, look, this is Margaret Mead and Gregory Bateson. Margaret Mead was a student of Franz Boas. I think they both were. And here comes the kitty cat to say hello. So I think on that note, I'll leave it. I'll leave it right there. I can't wait to see what you guys all choose for this tag. I hope you guys play along, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.